Hello. So, once again, another random and spontaneous video. Literally talking about nothing. No thing. Or everything. Which is the same. So nothing's actually happening unless a thought says so. I mean, it's really, really obvious that nothing's happening. Thoughts seem to happen. They do seem to appear kind of automatically. So there's no wonder or there's no surprise that most people think that something is happening. And no one's to blame for that. It's just through early childhood conditioning that people believe in the thoughts. They believe that the thoughts are real. Would the thoughts appear if you didn't learn language? Who knows? So what's being shared here is the recognition that you're not the thoughts. You're not that me character that you've been conditioned to believe in. You might not want to hear this message. Most people don't. Well, the me character can't actually hear this message because it would be the end of itself, end of the me character, ego death. And the self or the me character cannot know its own absence. And also what's being shared here is the incredible awareness or aliveness or consciousness or this that's here, that nobody knows what this is. No one. No scientist, no government leader. no secret society grandmaster. If you've been down the conspiracy routes, conspiracy theories, nobody knows what this is. And it makes me smile because that's the freedom. That's the liberation and the relief. There's nothing to find. So that's why I said at the beginning of the video, I'm just talking about nothing. So this aliveness that's here, this energy, you know, that sense that something's here, is nothing. It's not a thing. It's unknown, yet it can appear as whatever is appearing. It can appear as, it seems to be infinite possibilities. It's incredible. So you don't know anything. I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. You just think that you do. And that's what's kind of being exposed here, is that the thoughts are nothing. They're just an appearance that arise now in this timeless immediacy. So there is no time. I mean, just look. Where is time? Where's that me character that you've been conditioned to believe that you are? That's why I say there's nothing actually happening unless a thought says so. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching. I've got no idea what I'm going to waffle on about this time. I said there's no plan. No, excuse me. There's no plan or script for these videos. So apparently it's Monday morning, and you know, it seems that most people, you know, dread Monday mornings. I mean, I don't mind them. I mean, if this that's being shared has been seen clearly, then, well, there is no Monday morning. There's just this immediacy. There's no time here. There's no day. There's no month. There's no year. There's just this. If you don't think about it, you know, what time is it? What day is it? You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, there clearly is a relative world that seems to be happening. A kind of matrix, a thought-based reality. And there's no denial of that here. I've always said that in my videos. There's kind of like two realities going on at the same time, and I know I repeat myself a lot in the videos, but it's that's the whole point. It's so simple and obvious what's being pointed to and what's being shared. It's going to be a repetitive message. But it is difficult to explain the paradox between the relative and the absolute. I'll use them two words, the relative and the absolute. So non-duality is basically saying there's no separation. There's not two, it's oneness. There's just this immediacy. And, that is what's being pointed to here, that there is only what appears to be happening. There's nothing else. And it's not a belief. How is that a belief? It's just what is. All I'm sharing is what is. And people call that the absolute, appearing as the relative world, but they're not two. So the relative, there isn't a relative world and the absolute. They're the same. So it's the absolute appearing as the relative. But there does seem to be like a matrix or a program that is playing out, and there's nobody doing that. So there's nobody here, there's no one inside your body, there are no separate characters, yet it can appear that way. That's the illusion. Or that's thought-based, it's an imagined story. Again, you come back to this immediacy, without thoughts, imagination or ideas, what is actually happening? If that can be seen clearly, it's, I don't want to say it's game over, but the game's up. It's not game over because you've got no control of what thoughts arise and when. So the thoughts of your imagined me character can just spontaneously arise. And also any memories of your apparent past can appear now in this timeless immediacy as well. Or any thoughts of shit that you need to do tomorrow or next week. But all of that is just a movement of energy that appears on this. I sometimes call it a screen. This appearance, this screen that's here, has never moved. But the content appears to change, and the greatest illusion really, I feel anyway, this is just my experience, is how it can pull off the illusion of time and space, a past, a present, a future, and distances, which are all illusory. Again, come back to this immediacy without thoughts, imagination, ideas. Where is time? Where is distance? Where's the characters? Where's the stories? I hope that made sense. Probably not. You can test this. In fact, on Friday last week, again, a story appearing now in this immediacy. But on Friday last week, I went on a train journey. It was I live in the northwest of England, and a friend of mine died recently, and I've known him for around 21 years, more of a kind of a work, career, acquaintance. So I thought I'd pay my respects and go to his funeral on Friday. And I thought I'd get the train for a change. I normally do. I mean, I love driving, but I thought I'd get the train on this occasion. It was about 2.5 hour train ride to the Midlands, middle of England. And I've mentioned on other videos about the illusion of travel and time and space. It's so difficult to explain. I'll try my best anyway, so forgive me if it doesn't land. But this awareness, this screen that's here, the whole of your life can only appear on this that's not moved. There's no time here. So the illusion of time is kind of stitched together by this imaginary timeline. It's only ever thoughts that appear now in this immediacy. Every single thought of your past did not happen in the past. It can only happen now on this timeless screen. And it's the same with movement and traveling a distance. If you close your eyes right now, you could be anywhere. Going back to this immediacy, without thoughts, ideas, and imagination, what is actually happening? There's nothing happening. Nothing's ever happened. Nothing's ever going to happen. So, when that's been seen clearly, you can kind of play around with that as well, in a weird kind of way. And I did that on Friday, So, I travelled for 2 hours, 2.5 hours on a train. To a certain place, a distance, and at certain points during that journey, it's obvious that you're not moving anywhere, because this awareness, this aliveness that's here, well, it doesn't move. The content on the screen appears to change, but the aliveness, the energy, the unknown existence, whatever this is, no one knows what this is, doesn't move. So, I spent 2.5 hours there on the train, spent a couple of hours at the funeral service, a couple of hours coming home, and it's obvious that I haven't moved. Now, I don't know if you've seen that clearly, and I know to some people that could sound insane or crazy, but I don't care. You know, it's just so obvious here now. And nothing's solid. It's a total thought-based reality. And it's funny, my wife said to me, I mean, she's not an anxious person or anything, but she does get a bit, she's mentioned when I'm away from home, quite far away, she feels a bit anxious. You know, I don't know why that is. She's just mentioned it. And I didn't say anything to her, you know, because I think I've mentioned on other videos, I don't really talk to my wife about this realization anymore, because, you know, she's really happy with being identified with her character. She really believes that she is that character, and she believes in time and space. It can feel so real, and I get it. You know, that's the whole message. That's the whole self-realization, as I call it, is the realization that there is no one here, and there is no time. There's just this immediacy, and that's the freedom. Because it just seems that if you identify with a me character, it's hard. It can be hard. It can be a struggle, suffering. So yeah, I didn't say to my wife, well, I haven't actually moved anywhere. So, you know, I went on the train journey. I've not actually moved anywhere. I mean, again, you know, if somebody who's not had this realization, it just wouldn't make sense. But it's obvious. I mean, even the thought of that train journey on Friday, it didn't happen in the past. It's a thought that arises now on this screen. Everything just appears now on this in this awareness. Everything. There's nothing outside of this immediacy. There never has been. There's nowhere else. Relatively, there is thought-based reality. But anywhere else it's just an imagination. It's an imagined story time. See, I don't think you can really teach this message. You know, I'm just talking about the experience that seems to have happened here. You know, I've always said I don't give advice or teachings, because I mean, I did all the seeking in the past. You know, you can't get this from someone else. You can't add anything or get anything from what already is. It's done already. So if you're looking for something, or you're waiting for something that's going to wake you up, you just think that no self-realization might happen for you, it can't. It's already done. That's the trap, that's the seeking parasite, that's the seeking energy, that's the illusion, that's the hamster wheel, that's the carrot dangling on a stick. There's no next. There is no future. The future is an impossibility. It cannot arrive. It's never arrived. So this message is the end of seeking. It's game over for the seeker. And the relief and the freedom in that is immense. There's nothing right or wrong with seeking. It's just that's an appearance that arises now in this immediacy. So you're not in control of your thoughts. So this is what I'm saying. I don't think you can teach this message, because the body-mind organism is not yours. It belongs to this unknown aliveness. So you can't control your thoughts, feelings, or actions. There's no doer. There is no doer. And that's not a belief or a philosophy. It's just a fact. You know, if you look in this immediacy, this is timeless. This is all there is. Where's the doer? Not the body. Obviously the body seems to appear. But the doer, that imagined me character, you'll never be able to find it. It's never been there. That's the illusion. That thinker, that narrative in your head, it's not even in your head, the thoughts that arise in this immediacy, it's just an illusion. It's wonderful, or not. If apologies I apologize if you're going through a tough story right now, a tough time. But it's just how it is. You cannot change. You can't do anything. There's no control. But that's the freedom. Because there's no one here now that wants this to be another way. However it appears. And believe me, there's no permanent state of bliss here. There's a human being here. Humans have the whole array of emotions. Fear, worry, anxiety can still appear, but it's okay. I think I mentioned on other videos, there's kind of like a bring it on attitude now. I don't know why that's happened here, but in the past, if an uncomfortable feeling or a shitstorm of uncomfortable thoughts came knocking, then I wouldn't like that. I want it to be another way. How can I change this? And that's suffering, because that's you wanting this to be another this, but there isn't another this. There's only this immediacy. And if that can be seen clearly, you kind of just bask in this immediacy, however it is. And weirdly, or magically, I don't know what the right word is, wonderfully, it becomes okay. So the videos I've been making now for 9 or 10 months, I think it was about a year, about, again, a story appearing now in this immediacy, but I think it was about a year ago when I started having these kind of major glimpses. I mean, I've always had kind of glimpses, even as a child. But them earlier videos that I made, I mean, they make me cringe a bit because I wasn't used to making videos, but I think what's quite unique about the videos that I did make, them earlier videos, I mean, some of them were made during glimpses. During the unraveling of the me character, the deconstruction of that imagined me character, during the uncomfortableness of it as well. Because here, I mean, I don't know what it's like for other people that have had this realization. I mean, I have watched, as I've said on other videos, I've watched many non-duality speakers for probably about 5 years now. But not many of them talk about, Tim Kliss does, he's mentioned a lot about the sadness to it, or the uncomfortableness to this realization. But I think it's kind of like an initial phase. So it sounds like a paradox, this, because this immediacy is timeless, but there does seem, I mean, here anyway, there does seem to be a process to seeing through this illusion. Now, it could be because, I mean, here there was a lot of child trauma, difficulty in early life, a lot of shit that seemed to be held onto the nervous system. So I think a lot of that came up or came out. I don't know, I'm just guessing really, but when the realization started becoming clearer, I mean, I went through a really uncomfortable time of weeks of crying, you know, the realization that the Gavin Brooks character isn't and never was. It's a fucking joke. And the burning or chest pressure sensations I had for weeks and weeks, the nervous system was kind of like under attack in a way. Again, take all this with a pinch of salt. It you know, you can call it nonsense. It's okay. I don't mind. It's just I'm just sharing what seemed to have happened here. And there's no rules to this. There are no rules. None at all. So I just had a pop up on the screen. And yeah, so there seems to have been like an integration period here where it's like the stripping away of layer upon layer of stories and beliefs and conditioning, and because there was a lot of knowledge gaining here through many books, hours upon hours of YouTube research, conspiracy theories, religions, decades of it, really. And it's funny, when it's realized, all of that knowledge is, I mean, it's absolutely worthless. All of it. And what's wonderful is that you don't actually lose that knowledge as well. So, the body-mind organism seems to hold memory even after realizing that there's no one here and there's nothing here. There's no stories here, there's no characters here. I mean, what I also noticed as well, and again, take it with a pinch of salt because it's just what's happened here, but isolation seemed to have been a breakthrough to realize this. And that's why I say I really don't think you can teach this. And I've got nothing against people going on retreats or sitting down in rooms together, meditating to try and have a clear seeing of what's being shared here. But ultimately, you're all alone. And, I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you can't bask in this immediacy by yourself for a considerable, for a long time, I think it'd be difficult to see this clearly. Most people are consumed with stimulation, friends, family, work. It's just go, go, go. What's next? What's next? What's next? I'm not judging anyone here. It's just a noticing of what seems to be happening, in my surrounding or in this society anyway. I look around at people and they can't. It's what's next. It's always wanting, always chasing something, even if that means chasing that next bit of knowledge to have an awakening. If I just watch that one more Muji video, I might wake up. There's nowhere else. This is it. It's always been this way. And a part of me would love for everyone to see this clearly. And there's no specialness or arrogance here at all. I hope that doesn't come across. It's not like that at all. It's the complete opposite. It's been seen here that there's no one here. This immediacy stands completely alone by itself. And you could say that's what you are. You know, something's here. The fact that it's even here is, you can't even put that into words. So, but again, you're not in control of the thoughts or feelings or the actions or anything. So it's kind of like for example, here in the last couple of weeks, I've set myself a goal, not a work goal, a 12-week health and well-being goal. So healthy eating and lots of exercise, running, cycling, going to the gym. Now, that sounds like such a contradiction to everything that I share in these videos, and also a paradox. You know, some people might be watching this now thinking, well, fucking hold on a minute. You just said this is a timeless immediacy, and now you're planning for a 12-week future. You just said there's no future. It's an impossibility. I know that's why it's so difficult to talk about this message. Any memories of the past did not happen in the past. They can only happen now on this timeless screen. Any plans for the future also happen in this immediacy, but you didn't make the plan. So planning can happen, but the thought that arose to make the plan came from this immediacy. It did not come from you. So everybody's thoughts, apparently there's billions, 7 billion people on this realm, whatever we want to call it, Earth. And everybody's thoughts come from the same place. This. Now, if you're identified with being that person that you believe that you are, that you've been conditioned to believe you are, you think your thoughts come from you, and you think that your husband or wife's thoughts come from them. That was a massive realization here, that there's no one doing anything. Oneness, wholeness, this immediacy is running the whole show simultaneously. It's incredible. It's like and it does not make a mistake. It's a perfect choreographed masterpiece. Right down to crashing your car, being diagnosed with cancer, winning the lottery, everything. Depression, happiness, all of it. There's no one doing anything. You know, loads of people will disagree with this sharing, this message, but it's just what's been seen here. You know, that's what's happened here, and it seems to be very clear now and obvious. And it's like the final truth, or it's like the only I don't know if truth's the right word. It seems right to say that it's the only truth. Because it's what is. It's here right now. Any thought-based reality, it's not the truth, is it? It's an imagined story. A belief. You know, I didn't choose to make this video. So in the story, I woke up this morning, I've been to the gym this morning, I've came home, my wife and my kids have gone out. My wife's gone out with my youngest, and my eldest is in school. I'm at home, working from home today. And then, so the thought arises to make a video. Now, if a thought arises, it doesn't mean that the video is going to happen. It might not happen. That's what I'm saying. There's no one in control of your thoughts or the actions. So whether you choose to act on a thought or not is also not down to you. It's total freedom. But can you accept that? The me character can't really accept that, because the me character, the me character can't seem to be content with whatever is appearing. Not always, because there are times where the me character is happy with what's happening, but normally only if it's satisfactory to the me character, because it's selfish. I feel harsh using that word. I'm not saying that all me's are selfish, but there's definitely a selfishness energy to the me character. It's all about it, really. The whole world revolves around the me character. That's the illusion, by the way. It's not actually happening. As I said, going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, if you look at this immediacy now, without thoughts, ideas, or imagination, what is actually happening? There is no me character. There's no story that led up to this immediacy, and there is no next. There's only this. So you can't be anywhere else. That's a lot of relaxation can be found when this has been realized, because I don't know about you, but when you're identified with the story and the me character, well, you're not really experiencing this immediacy. you're experiencing an imagined story of a future or past. Because the me character is time. Time is the me character. They're the same energy. You can't have one without the other. That's why I say the me character dies in this immediacy. The me character cannot live or survive in this immediacy because there's no me character here, and there never was. The me character is just a thought-based time loop. But it's a joke. It's never been there. It's always only ever been this. You know, that's the, when you hear about the cosmic joke. But yeah, there's definitely an aloneness to it. Because you are all alone. Your imagination, that thought-based reality that seems to be playing out for you has created all these characters and this world. And if you believe in it, then it seems to be the reality in the relative world to you. But it's an illusion. You know, and that's why I said I don't really want to teach this message, because there's lots of people that are quite happy. Like my wife, for example, she's really happy with her life and a story, but she'll still suffer because she wants things. Most wives want things. Again, it's the me character is me, next. What's next? So if somebody really wants something, I mean, you'll know this yourself. I mean, everything you've ever wanted in your life, if you ever get it, doesn't really satisfy you for long. It's what's next. And what's being shared here is that this immediacy is what you're looking for. And if you can see this clearly, you will not want anything next. Desires might happen. Wanting things might happen. There's nothing right or wrong with that. Again, there's no one in control of your thoughts, feelings, or actions. There's no doer. But there's just a recognition that this that's appearing right now, there's nothing else. There's nothing to gain from it. You can't get anything out of this. You can't add anything to it. You can't remove anything from it. It just is as it is. And it's wonderful as it is, however it appears. Even if that feels uncomfortable, there's just a realization that it can't be any other way. That's suffering. If you want this immediacy to be another way, obviously you're going to suffer, because it can't be any other way. But it seems that the me character has been conditioned through no fault of its own. It just seems that societal conditioning, I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? The advertisement industry and social media, career, money. It's no wonder a few people, there's no surprise that this message is very unpopular. Why would the me character want to hear this? The me character wants things, wants material things, wants money, wants a new lover, a new partner. again, it doesn't get you anywhere. You'll only end up, you're only ever here in this immediacy. This is freedom from death. I'm talking about death of the body. There's no fear of death when this is realized. Obviously the body will die, it will decay and rot away. But this immediacy won't. This immediacy is eternal, timeless. It was never born. It didn't start. This didn't start. It's not going to end. That's what it means, the only truth and freedom. If you believe solidly that you are that me character, that you was born and you have a story that led up to this moment, and then tomorrow there's going to be a future, and then you're going to die, that's a story of suffering, really. Sorry, that sounds a bit harsh. I mean, I don't know how real or how popular the fear of dying is. It's never really been a thing here. I've never really, I'll say it. I mean, I've got no fear of death at all. It's just not even zero, not at all. And there's no arrogance or specialness in saying that. I'm just saying it how it is. That's how it's felt here. I just think this immediacy that's here is, well, this is all there is. However it appears. And if that appears as an old body dying, then that's how it's appearing. But it's an illusion. You're not the body. That's an imagined story. You would have to believe in time for that story to be real. But there is no time. There's only this immediacy. Yeah, sorry, I think I've waffled on a bit there, as usual. Still amazes me how these videos are happening. Again, I keep kind of repeating the same things over and over again, and I can't see that being any other way, really, because it's just pointing to the simplicity of what is. So if you think that you should be doing something else, that's an illusion. It's just a thought-based. I mean, what's a thought? If you really, really delve into or deconstruct what a thought is, it's nothing. Nothing. You just latched onto it. You've latched onto that thought and believed it. But a thought is just a movement of energy that appears in this immediacy, just like the sound of a siren of a police car passing by. It's exactly the same as that. It's got no relevance at all to this immediacy. You know, there's nothing right or wrong with anything. So, you know, again, there's no judgment here. If anyone is completely identified with the me character and they completely reject what I'm saying and this message, that's absolutely okay here. Because that's just what's happening. As I said before, all thoughts, all beliefs, all knowledge come from the same place. This oneness. All actions come from the same place. So, I mean, triggering or getting pissed off can still happen here, but it's seen through very quickly. You know, if somebody cuts in front of me in traffic, you know, in the past, they'll be, you know, might be a bit angry about that. But now it's just, there's a body, mind organism being moved by oneness. You know, and that's not to say that, you know, you're never going to get annoyed or angry or triggered. Of course, you know, the body will. I mean, you know, if something terrible happened to one of my children, I mean, you know, I'm not just going to say, oh, well, that's just wholeness doing its thing. Ultimately, that is the truth. But on a human level, that's going to be devastating. So again, there's paradoxes to this. I'm sure people will resonate with what I'm saying there. So I mean, it's a difficult thing to talk about because it can trigger people. But again, triggering is just this, appearing is that. There's no escape. So you actually don't have a life. And that can be devastating or an absolute freedom. I mean, here is again, I talk about the integration. Again, this is timeless immediacy, but it does seem to be a process. And here, it was when it was realized, it was devastating at first, but now it's definitely more sort of freeing, the relief, the liberation, peace, and relaxation when you can bask in this immediacy as it is, however it appears. Well, yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I'm never sure how these videos land, but thank you for watching, and it seems like the videos are resonating with people out there, so it's much appreciated. Thank you for the comments, emails, and for supporting the channel. Yeah, again, there's no teaching really, but if you can just see that without thoughts, ideas, and imagination, there's nothing actually happening. Thank you for watching.